Did you guys know about the Creature Crate Patreon? Every month you'll get amazing files that you can make, like this Donkey Kong, this dragon, this robot tech scarab, this Cerberus, or this super cool set of Bulbasaurs. You can also sell the prints from these files as an authorized seller. Join the Creature Crate Patreon now. Link is in the description below. Hey guys, what's up? Nico again here, and in this 3D Printed Profits episode, I have Nancy, who's gonna come to us from
Virginia, Alexandria, Virginia.
All right, so we're just gonna talk to Nancy about her business, how she got started, and how she got her first client, so on and so forth. And as always, all of her links are going to be in the description below if you're on YouTube, and if you're on your favorite podcast player, it's going to be in the show notes down below. Also, before we get started, I'd like to invite everybody to join us in the 3D Printing Side Hustle group, where we talk about business and tips and so on and so forth, where we just help each other grow in this industry and this technology and this hobby that we love. So without further ado, Miss Data Diva, welcome to the show.
Hi.
So let's start with your background. What is it exactly that you do? Because this is a side hustle, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what is it that you do aside from this?
I'm a database administrator. I both work as a database administrator for a nurses union, and I have a nonprofit that teaches database administration, hence the Data Diva name of the company.
All right.
I for a while was a data consultant, but that involves spending a lot of time looking for clients, which I find exhausting. So I'd much rather just do the data and not go out pitching myself. It's a lot more fun to just play with spreadsheets.
So how does that translate to 3D? I mean, that's so far from 3D printing. How'd you find out about this?
So remember I said that who I work for is a nurses union, and early in the pandemic, the only people that were making face shields were 3D printers. And I saw some stuff about how in Italy, they had some part that respirators needed that was on massive back order, and they gave some to 3D printers who reverse engineered it and were able to produce them in a matter of hours. So I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. And so I thought maybe I'd help making face shields. And I just Googled and saw that, you know, they were now a $200 item instead of a $5,000 item. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll get one and play around with it. And I spent 4 months printing essentially nothing but face shields and ear savers. And then once face shields became available commercially, I was like, okay, well, now I can play. And I started making stuff for fun. And, you know, if you don't start selling stuff, then pretty soon your house fills up. So I started, you know, put some stuff on originally my website and then Etsy. And I was getting enough more business on Etsy than on my own website that I stopped pretty much selling on my website.
Gotcha. So Etsy takes the majority of the business, right?
Yeah, and probably if I decided to build up my website and send the traffic that I'm generating rather than just native Etsy stuff, I probably could make somewhat more money that way. But again, this is a side hustle, and transferring everything over and redoing everything, it's just always, it's so much less work to just, you know, put one more thing up on Etsy where everything's already set up. And where people know, and where people are less worried that, you know, they're going to get scammed because there's a thing. So mostly it's Etsy, and one of these days I'll move everything over to my own website. But I'm very busy. And that would take away from time spent designing products or reading or, you know, anything else aside from just transferring stuff from one place to another.
Gotcha.
No.
So how much are you making a month on the business?
Probably in the vicinity of 500, 500 per month. It's the majority of my sales come from craft fairs. So it is higher in the months when there are craft fairs, which tends to be either the summer or the holiday months like November and December. So it drastically varies, but 500 as an average is you know, probably fairly accurate.
Gotcha. And what is it exactly that you sell for the business?
So I'm a fairly specialized market. Most of the stuff most of my big sellers are queer oriented.
Okay.
So I have a line of so far 8, but there will eventually be 10 queer dinosaurs
Okay.
with punny names. So this one is the Stegosaurus. This let's see, this one, it's a prototype for the Plesiosaurus, so it's only one color. It's supposed to be 3 colors
Gotcha.
from the lesbian flag. Let's see, Transosaurus, Intersaurus, non-binosaurus, Panadactyl, Biceratops, and Velociraptor. And the agender Ankylosaurus will come at some point, and the Allosaurus for people that just
Gotcha.
want a queer dinosaur but don't actually identify as LGBTQ.
Gotcha. So when you first started doing the selling,
Mhm.
how did you get your first customers? Was it on Etsy? Did you just like, you know what, I'm gonna put this up and brand it as such, and then, you know,
The,
you just
the
take the wheel?
first the first stuff I sold a lot of was collars for Ruth Bader Ginsburg right
Okay.
after she died. I found a collar that it was just her famous dissent collar, and then I added the words "the notorious RBG" on it. And at first I just made them for me and my partner, and then I had some friends that wanted them, so I put them on my website, and then I just put them on Etsy also as um a bit of a whim, and they were very popular because people wanted them for Halloween costumes.
Gotcha.
So my first sale was to a friend of mine, and then after that, it was people that were looking specifically for RBG stuff.
Okay.
And when I put any, and most of the stuff that I put up, especially stuff where I didn't design it from scratch, like I'll look for things that have licenses where you can sell them.
Hmm.
But I always feel a little weird doing that. So, various things get, various donations,
Gotcha.
usually related to what the product is. So RBG was ACLU, and the flexi uteruses and Planned Parenthood clocks are to Planned Parenthood, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. So after you put this RBG
Mhm.
product up, when did a 3D printing business start to pick up for the
Oh,
business?
that was basically immediately, like within a day or two. And then had a lot of stuff from, I guess that would have been either very late September or early October in 2020. And then I sold a lot of stuff through Christmas. And then there was a massive drop off, and I was selling almost nothing for a while. And then I had made a bunch of little T-Rexes to send to a friend of mine to give out as Halloween presents, because this was October 2020, and so they didn't want to go trick or treating. So
Sure.
she made a like sort of virtual trick or treat over Zoom,
Hmm.
and so I sent in these little dinosaurs, and a trans friend of mine, well, a mutual trans friend of ours, was at the house and saw one of the kids' Tyrannosauruses and sent me a message and said, "I want one." I'm like, "Well, I've got trans pride colors because I also make queer pride clocks. Do you want it in trans colors?" And then later we realized Transosaurus Rex was an excellent pun, and a product line was born, and it was purely accidental.
Gotcha. And so what happened next? Did that just go viral on Etsy? How did that go?
Um, it went pretty well, and I have a lot of friends with what one might call the dad joke style of humor, and so we sat down and figured out what dinosaurs went best with what puns, and that's how I got Biceratops and Stegosaurus, and sort of added in other ones as we went. Like I said, I'm a data person and I do spreadsheets for fun, and I did some analysis looking up various search terms and comparing how many times something was searched for versus how many items had those search terms. And with that, I was able to figure out, oh, like even though there's more gay people than trans people, there's significantly fewer trans focused items. So I keep spreadsheets with that and with various search terms, which gives me both ideas for where I should go with products and what search terms are useful.
Wow, you really went in, deep into data with that. And
Well, like I
what
said, I
software
do
are you using to
recreational
get the SEO
spreadsheets.
stuff?
Hmm?
What software are you using to get the SEO stuff?
eRank, which
E-rank.
is a product from Etsy, essentially. I'm not sure exactly of their business relationship, but you get, it was 5 free searches a day, and now it's something like 50. And I'll just search for various terms that I think might fit with my products, or with a product idea I have. And then I'll look and see how many items there are. And, you know, sometimes there's like a 1-to-1 ratio of the number of searches you get versus the number of items with that term. And sometimes you'll get like, there's, for every person who searched with that term, there's 66 items, I think is the highest I found. So generally the lower the number, the better, because of the amount of demand for that product versus the amount of actual products there are.
Gotcha. And so once you started picking up business, did you then start buying more machines to keep up with the demand? How did that work?
I bought a second machine. My first one was an Ender 3.
Okay.
And I bought a second machine basically because I saw that it was on sale, and I'm like, I like this and I want to do more of it. I now have 4 machines, although only 2 of them are active at the moment. And that's primarily a space issue. There's just only so much room I have in the apartment. And if I move to a larger place and am able to have a room that is just the print room as opposed to the print room and the spare bedroom and the storage room, then I'll, like, just one of the printers needs a new thermometer and one of them needs a new Z-axis motor. It's not major repairs, but it's enough that I decided to decommission them and focus on the 2 machines that were working.
Gotcha. And what filament are you using now?
Almost all PLA.
And what brand?
Inland is
Inland.
probably 95% of what I use. I'm very lucky. I'm 20 minutes away from one micro center and about 45 minutes away from another. At one point there was a filament shortage back in like February, and I had a new product I wanted to launch, but I needed magenta. And I went to, I think, 3 different stores in 3 different states looking for magenta PLA.
You're the second person today looking for magenta.
It was just impossible to find for a while, but just a couple. The pan flag needs magenta, and the bi flag has magenta, although I can sometimes get away with other shades. And as it happens, I was traveling to Philadelphia to visit family. I didn't go to Pennsylvania just there, but while I was in the area, I definitely checked out that one. And then there's one north of Baltimore that I hit, and then there's one north of DC. So I guess I did check out 4 micro centers in 3 states trying to find magenta.
Gotcha.
For that time. There was a month or 2 where it was just really difficult to get stuff. In part, Micro Center had started that $99 for
an Ender 3.
For the Ender 3 sale. And so you had a super duper increase in the number of people who had printers who were also within driving distance of a Micro Center, as well as a smaller supply. So for a while, I just go in and buy like any color that I ever used. And there was just some stuff that didn't get made for a while because most of the things I make is super specific as to which color it's going to be.
Gotcha. So do you design all of your products?
Not all of them. I designed some early on. I designed everything. Like my first craft fair, and it was mostly clocks and some ornaments. And I sold a little bit of stuff, and I happened to have some like little skeletons that were Halloween decorations that just were in the same container as the other stuff I'd printed. And those were the most popular thing. And so I learned fairly quickly that flexies are what's popular. So if there is a dinosaur with the license that allows me to sell, I'll use those. And if not, I'll make my own. Like I couldn't find a Stegosaurus that I like, so I designed the Stegosaurus myself.
Gotcha.
as well as the Plesiosaurus. I found a
Mhm.
couple of nice Plesiosauruses, but they were going to need a 0.4 nozzle in order to print. And I usually print with a 0.8 because it takes about half as much time. And detail is not generally terribly important for what I'm doing.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha. That's awesome. So you have a really, really super niche product there, in your own corner of the market.
mhm.
That's great. Um, it threw me off because no one is doing that, and I'm like wow, like I didn't even know that could be a niche as far as dinosaur products go. So my mind's still trying to wrap around it.
I am not the first person to come up with the puns. I have, looking around on Etsy, definitely found other stickers and t-shirts and stuff that say Transosaurus and Biceratops. And yeah, they don't always use the same dinosaurs that I do with the same pride thing. I am, to the best of my knowledge, the only person making 3D queer dinosaurs. Um, I'm sorry, 3D printed queer dinosaurs. I don't expect that I'll hold that market forever, but for the moment, it's one that I have. And the craft fairs I go to tend to be fairly specialized. I
Yes.
actually
So
travel.
let's talk about that craft fair. How
Mhm.
often are you at these craft fairs? Once a
So
month?
I did basically 4 weekends in a row during Pride. Although one of that was a market was canceled because of very, very bad weather. That unfortunately cleared up by the time the market was actually going to start. But at like 10 or 11 at night, it was hailing out. And no one wants to go to a craft fair where it's hailing.
I
Hail
agree.
hurts. If you ever stood outside in hail, do not recommend. I did it once for about 10 seconds, like, yep, this hurts. I'm gonna stop doing this now. What can I say? Science is a sacrifice sometimes. Yeah, I did. It was 4 weekends in a row that I traveled to Richmond, but it was 3 craft fairs because one of them got canceled and rescheduled. Um, so I'll do those, and then there's a couple of organizations that run craft fairs that I associate with. One runs pagan ones, and one does it's a fundraiser for a queer organization. And so those are mostly who I do the craft fairs with. So I'd say 3 and 2 months is probably a more standard schedule. It's just
Gotcha.
Pride.
Okay.
It was really really crammed.
Sweet. And so basically Etsy is doing all the marketing for you because they have that shop and Etsy does its own algorithm, so on and so forth, right?
I mean, yeah, but at this point, Etsy's probably less than 10% of my sales.
Okay.
It
So the
is
marketing
very
that's
heavily.
working is the craft fairs.
Yeah. And part of that is people can touch them. And part of that is I've got a fairly good sales pitch. And, the people that are there are exactly the folks who would be interested in my products.
It makes
And
marketing
especially,
so much easier. It makes selling so much easier.
yes, and I wish Alexandria had these cool craft fairs. Richmond just has a tradition apparently of being really artsy and lots of specialized craft fairs. I don't like driving 2 hours each way, especially because I'm usually very, very tired
Gotcha.
afterwards, and I have to massively caffeinate in order to drive back.
Awesome. So really that's it for me. I just wanted to know about the business, and congratulations. $500 a month that's pretty dang good. A lot of people are struggling to make $50 a month extra, and you're
Mhm.
here doing 10 times that. So congratulations. Let's wrap this up with your number one tip for anyone who wants to start their own 3D printing business.
A lot of people ask what it is that I should sell, or, you get people that get on the groups and they say, hey, I want to open up a business. What should I sell? And what they're doing is that they're basically saying to people, hey, how can I be a competitor of yours? Which is not necessarily going to be super effective. So one thing is figure out a niche where, a community or a hobby or an interest and what people there might like. Look around on places like Thingiverse and Yegi for inspiration, but learn at least a little bit of CAD yourself so that you can design things on your own. Tinkercad is very easy to learn. It's also very limited. It won't get you super far, but it'll teach you the basic principles and get you thinking in that 3D way.
Gotcha. So before I forget, I almost forgot to ask, what software are you using for your designs?
Mostly Tinkercad. I use 3D Builder a little bit. If I want to take a picture and turn it into a 3D object, Microsoft Builder is better at that than Tinkercad. Well, Tinkercad really won't do it at all. So I'll use 3D Builder for a few things. Like if I want to hollow something out, simplify it, split it, or
Cut.
turn a picture into a 3D object, then I'll use 3D Builder. And for just about everything else, I'll use Tinkercad. And I could learn a more advanced CAD program, but honestly, like I said, this is my third job. So there's a limited amount of extra time I have. I'm trying to learn Blender.
I know a guy.
I've almost finished the donut tutorial, and it's only taken me about 11 months. I'm very tired by the end of the day.
I know another guy.
There's also a certain irony in me learning how to make virtual donuts when I make real donuts as well.
There you go. There you go.
I also help out at a donut stand 1 week a year, and we'll make somewhere between 75,000 and 100,000 actual donuts, significantly faster than I could even hit copy paste.
There you go. All right. So that's it for us. If you guys stayed to the very, very end, as always, I'm going to give you your own product idea for your own 3D printing business. And today's product idea is outdoor patio decoration. Now, when you say outdoor patio decoration, what are you talking about? Like if you just do like an outline of a bird, you know, like just very simple, right? Bird, and you put it on outdoor decoration. I've seen them. They're beautiful. And if you don't print it in PLA, because PLA is going to warp if it's had direct heat. So I suggest printing it either in resin or ABS, or even if you print it in PLA, you can make a mold out of it and you can just mass produce it that way. And it actually be a lot faster. So what outdoor patio decoration can you make and sell as your niche for your own 3D printing business? Again, as always, all of Nancy's tips, her links are going to be in the description below. And again, congratulations. And we'll catch you again soon for a Where Are They Now episode. Thanks for being here.